What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Sunday, everybody. Okay, well, today I finished bringing all my stuff to my new home. I'm really happy about it. I wanted to give you guys an update on that. Something just happened on Ross Coulthart's reality check. Just to refresh your memory, this movie, Age of Disclosure. Let's watch the trailer.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
Look at this thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
When that came out, just to give you a little backstory on the entire thing, when I started in 2024, I started hearing rumblings about a project that was supposed to be a game changer. Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves were on the Merged podcast. They were one of the first people that I heard talking about this. They did say it was a game changer.
Well, Dave, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
I think, to your point, we are going to see a lot of changes in this area over the next few years. So perhaps we'll have you back on and we can discuss some of them.
You know, Ryan, I hope we do, and I hope I get invited back. I think, there's some stuff coming out. There's the documentary that I know you're a part of that's going to be coming out that I think is going to be game changing. There's been a lot of stuff said, but I think this is going to have the right amount of people. I'm not saying who it is or when it is, but there is something being put together that I think, hopefully it will come out and it'll be, that one thing that pushes it over that says, all right, we can't, the cat is definitely out of the bag, because I think there's going to be some interesting information that comes out in it. So it'll be good. I think it's an exciting times.
We don't support the X-File themes here at all. So, all right, Dave, thanks so much.
Twilight Zone. Yeah, thanks, dude. It's been great. Great seeing you.
And then we heard Matthew Pine saying that there was going to be a coup de grace.
So Lou Elizondo's book, in fact, I read the first few chapters already. The full book hasn't come out. It's going to be a wild book, I'll tell you that.
What's it called?
It's called Imminent.
Oh, the Imminent book. Okay.
Yeah, and so, but then that's going to trigger these documentaries, other people, and then I believe the coup de grace will be coming sometime this year with someone that everyone would recognize if they watch, if they paid attention to the news, you would know this person.
Wild. And then when it was announced that this movie was happening, there were a lot of different things being talked about in the background pertaining to the film. The film was eventually presented at South by Southwest early in 2025. It was only screened for 2 times at South by Southwest for a select number of people. Many of them were invited. I speak to a lot of them. Many of them are from the content creation sphere. Many of them are UFO researchers. Many of them are journalists. And they all came out sort of tight-lipped about the movie. Just to give you a little bit of context of how festival films operate, because there's a difference between movie theater films and festival films. The movie theater films are from big time studios, and they plan ahead on a cinema release of an about a month kind of run. Each movie gets. Some get a little more, some get a little less. But when they come out in festivals, there are many films that don't even make it to movie theaters at all. They go straight to streaming. The thing is that Dan Farah, the director of this movie, does have a strong presence in Hollywood. He worked on Ready Player One with none other than Steven Spielberg, who's also making a movie about disclosure, but this one is fiction, sort of. You know Spielberg's UFO movies. So Dan Farah does have that going for him, and he's very well connected in Hollywood. So it is only natural that somebody like him, who actually believes that he has a lot going for this movie in terms of shock factor and maybe even an award circuit run. So whenever movies like this come out first in festivals, it takes about a year for them to even get considered to a theatrical release. Those that don't make it there go straight to streaming. Given that award season is about to start, and his movie could contend in documentary category on every single festival, it makes sense that he would want to release the film at around Christmas time, January, something like that, right before all of the award shows are happening. So it's fresh in the memory and the head of all the judges that vote for these films. So this is a documentary. You don't see a lot of documentaries having theatrical releases, but given the importance or apparent importance of this movie, I started asking people from the industry about the potential release. The first things I heard were like 4 or 5 months ago from somebody from within the industry who told me that this movie was being contested by several streaming services. Among them were Netflix, Amazon, Apple, and others. But those are the main 3 that were trying to get the movie. So there was like a streaming war, so to speak, to get the rights of the movie. But no announcement from the Age of Disclosure social media accounts or from Dan Farah himself. He did give an interview to Collider, I think, to Frosty. They did like occasionally post on their social media fragments from either the Joe Rogan Experience or other major podcasts talking about the movie. They did post Dr. Hal Puthoff's interview with Joe Rogan, a part of it where they talk about Age of Disclosure, for example. So they were active, but while the streaming service war was happening, the bidding war, they didn't really make any public announcements on the movie. And anytime anybody asked anything about the film, if you tagged the Age of Disclosure account or Dan Farah's account, they untagged themselves every single time. The information that I gathered was that there was a streaming service bidding war and that it was getting to a potential conclusion. And then I decided to tweet at Dan Farah and Age of Disclosure because I heard from people from the industry who were talking about this. I heard an update and I wanted to ask Dan. And I said, hey, Dan Farah, how are you? I heard the Prime Video has picked up Age of Disclosure for a December, January release, but with a short theatrical run in select cities. I'm guessing you are aiming at the award circuit. Is this true? Or are my sources off? Care to comment here? So based on this was on October 1st, and they untagged themselves, as I told you they did. But based on this, there was something that Ross Coulthart just said on his reality check show about the film. And there is like a longer clip. He doesn't just talk about the film, he talks about John Brennan, former CIA director, and John Radcliffe, active CIA director, who are both in the movie. And there's something very interesting that he says about this that I want to show you guys. So this happened this Sunday on Ross Coulthart's reality check on News Nation. He was talking about Dr. Anna Brady Estevez and her work with science and how she brought forward Dr. Richard Banderick, who I've done a bunch of videos about him, who's talking about working with UAP materials, allegedly. And Ross opened up the debate that I've been trying to ponder over the last few weeks after the hearing, because even though the hearing was very important, even though more people coming forward is always very important, in my opinion, especially those who are credentialed ones and who can confirm their service, and you know, especially those. I think that the government controlled disclosure, which also includes this movie, Age of Disclosure, is very difficult for it to happen. It doesn't mean that I don't want for an official acknowledgement from a government entity. I think that would be incredibly helpful for the entire cause. But looking back at Colonel Carl Nell's presentation, the whole idea of catastrophic disclosure and this controlled disclosure, which, if you saw this trailer, it does seem like a lot of people in there are talking about this adversarial aspect of disclosure and the arms race. And basically, they think that we're going to have another age of the atom in our hands because people want this technology for weaponization and perpetuation of war. I think that, yeah, a certain type of disclosure could help, but if it comes from the government and it perpetuates the current system, I don't think it will be beneficial for people. It will be beneficial for a select few who are currently in power. And I happen to think that the catastrophic aspect of it would affect government entities and aerospace companies and weapon manufacturers and oil industry and the ones that have the power right now. That's who catastrophic disclosure would affect the most. I'm not saying that for the rest of society, a traumatic experience won't be traumatic. It definitely would be. But something I've learned extrapolating it to my life and to the traumatic experiences that I've had, I think traumatic experiences are always necessary to grow and to evolve. And I've suffered a number of them. And those experiences have only made me a better person in general. So I think that the way the world is right now and how it's burning right now and how divided it is, there is a need for some sort of traumatic experience that the people who have experience in traumatic experiences are going to be able to help those who haven't navigate through this traumatic experience. I think that's one of the main tasks that the people that know about this phenomena and in general, in plural, can help. That's a task that they can do. Help others understand this better, because a lot of people are going to be very confused. I agree, but I think, and I'm sure a lot of you do agree with this, I think that the system needs to change overall. And this is also going to affect religion, by the way, which, if you have been looking at this show, especially when I speak about religion, which I don't do often because I know how divisive things can get when you talk about religion. I think that religions and faith would be rocked when this is uncovered, because even though we all have theories, even though there's ancient scripture, even though science tells us a lot too, I don't think anybody has a proper grasp or a proper idea of what's going on. And if something is revealed and it makes us understand what's going on, I don't think it looks exactly like what anybody says is going on. There's a shock factor of knowing what's going on that everybody is going to go through, because there's a lot that is unexpected, that is unknown. So with that in mind, the debate rages on. Where is disclosure going to come from? The one from the government seems to be prepared, seems to be under a script, and it seems to be moving the interest of a select few. The grassroots disclosure, the citizen disclosure, is trying, but fighting against government entities and secret keepers is incredibly difficult and incredibly dangerous in many cases. So that one is also very difficult. Science disclosure, I think that's a good avenue where this could come from. Surprisingly, I think if a religion, the Catholic Church, would announce something, that would be also a type of disclosure, but it would also be oriented towards their goals or their interpretations. So I don't think that would be beneficial either. I think it would come from either science, a mass sighting, like an undisputed mass sighting that anybody could record, or as Ross here, when he's talking about age of disclosure, from the CIA. So let's hear what Ross has to say here. And if you can catch where he is another one who has heard the same rumor about age of disclosure and Amazon picking it up, allegedly. We don't know yet. Let me know. Here it is.
And I think it's incredibly significant that somebody of the stature and high reputation of Dr. Anna Brady Estevez is willing to speak publicly about this and know that she's not going to suffer stigma, ridicule, or denigration or threats as a result of her speaking out. And maybe that's where disclosure is going to come from, because I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to come anytime soon from government. Might come from the CIA. I notice, and I keep on hoping that people like John Brennan, I heard a whisper that the Age of Disclosure documentary is going to be coming out soon, possibly on a limited cinema release and more broadly, possibly on Prime Amazon. But on that, John Brennan, the former CIA director from 2013 to 2017 under Obama, he was very vocal on UAPs. He's in a 2020 interview, he described Pentagon-released UFO videos as quite eyebrow-raising, emphasizing that while he doesn't know their origins, they warrant serious investigation beyond conventional explanations like foreign adversaries. And he suggested the phenomena might represent a different form of life, leaving open the possibility that it's extraterrestrial. And I understand he's gone a lot further in what he said in Age of Disclosure. And John Ratcliffe, who's the current CIA director, he's worth mentioning, actually. I've made a few notes of what John Ratcliffe has said. He was nominated as the CIA director in late 2024, confirmed by the Senate this year. And in public appearances, John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, has asserted that UAPs demonstrate, quote, technologies that we don't have and, frankly, that we can't defend against. They've been tracked by multiple sensors, including satellites, and he's ruled out the explanation that they might be illusions or drones. He criticized the Biden administration for withholding information, claiming, quote, the government has more information than it's sharing. And he promised more revelations once declassified. And during his DNI tenure, when he was the Director of National Intelligence, Ratcliffe pushed for declassification, noting that there'd been sightings all over the world with no clear explanation. And he's vowed to be more open. So fingers crossed from Tulsi Gabbard in DNI and John Ratcliffe in CIA, we might see a move for greater disclosure, because it's sure as hell not going to come from Congress by the looks of it.
Yeah, I agree. Based on everything I've been working on, that conversation with Matt Laszlo that I had a few weeks ago, he's been on Congress people's toes, and he's been looking at the way they've, in many ways, misdirected him. They told him one thing the first time, and then they say something else in public, and then they tell him something entirely different on the next time. And this fed him up. Completely understandable. So yeah, Ross mentioned this. Just imagine, though, Brennan and Radcliffe, both CIA, and they're both in the film. One is the current CIA director, and the CIA has long been rumored to be one of those entities that have the most information about this topic. So that impact would be significant. And I get there's a lot of people that no longer think that this movie is going to be relevant. We don't really know what that film has in it. I do know that this, based on the trailer, that this arms race narrative will have to be specifically explained, because there has to be a really good reason to perpetuate conflict and to talk about an arms race. The goal of this is to try and change things in general, not to enhance the conflict there already is. That's why a much better explanation is going to be needed there. But having two people from the CIA in that movie does sound weird, that a disclosure may come from the CIA. I don't know about you guys. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys think about this now stronger rumor that age of disclosure has been picked up by Amazon, apparently, and that they're looking for a theatrical release by the end of the year? It may come. I do hear that if the rumor is true, we're likely going to start seeing a little bit more publicity around the movie. I don't know if this month or the next one, but yeah, that should happen. That's how movies work. So let's see if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I've asked people who could know or should know, who are part of the industry, but they may be wrong. So let me know what you think. And what do you think about this quote from Ross that disclosure may come from a CIA official? Do you think it would have a major impact? And what does John Brennan know? What has he heard? What has he seen? Would be interesting to see what he has to say on that movie. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us. And it is what helps us the most. So thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like John Brennan. Always. Bye.